So this is an overview of Sage Intacct for construction. Today, we're going to be focusing on subcontractor management and compliance specifically. So being a purpose-built financial management system for the construction industry, the platform does come with the ability for us to centrally track all of our certificates and insurances for subcontractors. Given that it's on a single platform, there's really good visibility and reporting that's available. And we can then start to leverage these to automate processes such as blocking payments or providing a warning when you're about to pay a subcontractor whose insurance is out of date. So we're going to touch on these three elements and walk you through how they work together within the platform. So one of the first things to note out of the box, the Sage Intacct platform is designed to support multiple entities in a single instance, meaning that you'd be able to set up all your entities if you had multiple entities in one area and have this concept of a top level. So it's here at the top level where you can perform functionality that spans more than one entity. So typically, in this case, what you'd have is all of your subcontractors that are used in more than one entity would be set up at the top level, meaning that you can easily start to track your compliance with that subcontractor across your entire group and not have to maintain different records for them in separate entities. So what I now have is my list of vendors here. We're going to look at coastal fire systems specifically. So that is a filter that I put in place. Taking that out just brings up my full list of vendors. These list views are interactive. So as you've seen, you can add filters, you can rearrange some of these columns and decide what kind of information you would like to showcase. So let me bring back up coastal fire systems and we'll drill down to this vendor record. Right here from the vendor record, a couple of things to note is you can capture information about your vendors as required. So here in additional info, you can specify things like if they're enabled for TPAR, you can track the type of vendor they are. So in this case, they are specialty subcontractor that we work with. And this is all information that then feeds into your reporting. Specifically around your compliance, I have my vendor compliance section here, and these are the list of insurance compliance that I have. And you can then go ahead and have other types of compliances as well, beyond just insurance. You can configure the different types you need. Now, looking through this, some of the key information that I'm tracking around my insurances is whether or not we received the actual confirmation, the effective from and expiry date of these policies. And I'm also then tracking for things like workers' comp in this case. I want to track further details such as policy numbers. I'm also validating this against the actual expiry date. And I've configured Intacct to provide a warning when you go about making payment and this is out of date. This compliance can either be a warning or it could be a hard stop, depending on how you'd like the system to handle that. So once this is configured, you can obviously access these vendor compliance records right here from the vendor record and see it at this level. But it is an object in itself, meaning that centrally you can actually come in here and see your full list of vendor compliance in one area. And the level of detail that you decide to track on here is really up to you. So looking through my list of vendor compliance here, I've got some dates here like who created it, who modified it, descriptions. If these are not fields that you'd like to see, you can easily come in here and configure your columns and take away description, take away created and modified by, save those changes, and that then just cleans up your list view. The way this also plays out is you may decide to look at a split view and start to see the individual compliance records as well. So as you navigate down, you can actually open up the compliance records. So really depending on how you'd like to work with this. And looking through individual compliance records, we do have this inbuilt collaboration feature where you could start to have conversations on the compliance record, send a message to ask a specific question like I've done here. And then this just provides you a single audit trail for all conversations that have been had. So that's one way to access your compliance detail. These list views can be quite effective reports in themselves, and you can actually filter down and look at specific detail, but you can also create reports. So I've created a special report here within my purchasing menu for vendor compliance expiration. And as part of this report, I'm able to add in the filter parameters that I'd like to use. So in my example here, my filter parameters are the vendors and vendor IDs, but also the compliance category. So let's say I just wanted to pick up insurances that expire up until end of this month. Apply that, and what this now does for me is runs that report, and these reports can also be shared externally via email, or you can download them out of the system. So this is now my report. I can see the listing of my vendors, and they're essentially their insurance documents. So Bridgewater, there's their policies with the expiry dates, same here for Southern Cross Landscaping and so forth. And for each of these, I've also got a drill down, so I can actually open up these underlying transactions should I choose to. So a lot of flexibility in how you access and report on this information. So now that we're tracking this, let's see how it is used at the point of enforcing payment. To do this, we're going to go into our payment area. And when we go to pay suppliers and subcontractors, we can come in and choose the method of payment, the currency, and you can go ahead and add filters to look at a specific subset of subcontractors and suppliers and so forth. And this then brings up the list of everybody that should be making payment to. So in my example here, we're going to filter this down and say we're just going to make payment to Coastal Fire. Let me just find where I've got all my transactions with them. Choose your payment method, choose your vendor. So I'll pick up Coastal Fire in this case. And this then brings up the list of transactions that are available for us to pay. And right here from the payment screen, you can see I have my warning prompt letting me know that I've got something that I need to take care of. If this was a hard stop, then it also just prevents me from progressing with the payment entirely. As this is a warning, it's going to open up and show me my list of compliance records. And from here, I can then start to see the effective date and which of these has actually expired. Make this a bit bigger. And from here, we can then drill down to the underlying detail should we need to. Okay. This will happen across the board. So even if you're paying multiple suppliers and not just the one, the same behavior happens where you can then start to see the warnings. So in this case, I've got warnings against a few different suppliers that should be making payment to. So in summary, that is an overview of how Sage Intacct is able to centrally track all of those certifications and insurances for your subcontractors, provide you reporting, and really importantly, start to use that to enforce things like preventing payment, or at the very least, providing a warning to your team. If you'd like to learn more, feel free to get in touch with us at LimeLedger.com. We're a specialist Sage Intacct implementation organization working with construction companies to help transform systems. If you have any questions, feel free to drop them into the chat and we'll get to them in future videos, or visit us at LimeLedger.com.